So, you just got a traffic ticket. What do you do now? In this video, we're going to teach you how to understand a ticket, how to deal with it in the court system, how to deal with the consequences, and how it might affect your future. My colleagues will walk you through the process, so let's get started. Section 1, understanding the ticket. First, take a picture of your ticket. First thing you should do when you get a ticket is read it, read the entire ticket, and make note of critical information.
First, look for the county in which you received the ticket. This is located at the top of the ticket and can be helpful if a county level ordinance was violated. Then, look at the information about your court date. Make note of the court's address, your court date, and your court time. You should also look at the bottom of the ticket and see whether your ticket will be litigated in municipal court, associate court, or circuit court. Municipal courts are used for the adjudication of ordinance and traffic violations, associate courts hear misdemeanors, and circuit courts hear felonies. Regardless, attend the court date at the address provided at the top of your ticket. Tickets can look differently based on where you are, but all the same information is present. Below your court information is your personal information. Make sure that all of this is correct based upon your driver's license. The largest box on the ticket is where the officer describes your traffic violation. Read this in full to understand what you're being charged with and why.
The next step for you is to consider hiring a lawyer. To find out more information about your license status or driving record, contact the Missouri Department of Revenue 573-526-2407 or by visiting dor.mo.gov/driver-license/resources/records.html or by going to your local Missouri license office. Below, we will include a link that can help you find all the contact details you'll need. They'll help you to figure out the best next steps for your specific case. And regardless, don't miss the court date printed on your ticket. You can also look at how this affects your entire legal ecosystem by searching throughout databases like CaseNet, municourt.net, and others linked below. To learn all about your cases and violations, court date fines, and etc., use those same links. Section 2, litigating the ticket in municipal court. Once you have figured out just what your ticket means, you need to figure out what comes next. Upon meeting with legal counsel, it is important to attend that first court date. In the courtroom, you'll see this: your attorney, the prosecuting attorney, the judge, the bailiff, a few clerks. There will usually not be a court reporter or a jury, but you can request a jury trial if needed. Here's what each of those roles does and how they all relate to you. The prosecutor will likely make a recommendation to your attorney about your violations. They may be willing to recommend a reduction of the violation to a non-moving violation, a no-point violation, something else, or some combination thereof. This is to move the process along quicker. The recommendation is non-binding. You should also discuss with your attorney the possibility of a blind, open plea in the hopes of leniency from the judge. You have a variety of rights inside the courtroom that should be displayed and are readily available. More information on your rights can likely be found in your court building.
Section 3, the point system. The Department of Revenue of Missouri is the agency that handles all of this, and they've decided that essentially, traffic violations are assigned point values based on their severity. The occurrence of certain point values within certain time frames can then elicit various forms of punishment. You can find all of these point values on DOR Form 899, which is linked in the description. If you accumulate 4 points in 12 months, you get what's called a point accumulation advisory. This essentially just warns you that you're beginning to gain points rapidly. If you gain 8 points in 18 months, you are suspended for driving for varying lengths of time based on how many prior suspensions you have. For the first suspension, you'll be suspended for 30 days. For the second suspension, you'll be suspended for 60 days. And for third and any subsequent suspension, you'll be suspended for 90 days. Your driving privilege will be revoked for an entire year if you accumulate 12 or more points in 12 months, 18 or more points in 24 months, or 24 or more points in 36 months. Points eventually come off your record over time. When your driving privilege is reinstated, you automatically return to 4 points. Every year you drive without getting new points on your record, the points will be reduced. After 1 year, they'll be reduced by 1/3. After 2 years, they'll be reduced by 1/2. And after 3 years, your points will be reduced to 0, if you don't have any violations within that time period. Although your points may be reduced to 0 at that point, certain convictions must remain listed permanently on your driving record. If you want more information on any of this, you can always give a call to the Missouri Department of Revenue to figure out the status of your license and how many points are on your account. The Missouri Driver's Guide, linked in the description, offers a straightforward method of gaining this information as well.
Section 4, navigating the consequences and points. You have a right to a trial. If you do not go to trial, you can plead guilty, but you do not have to plead guilty. Regardless, these are some of the consequences that you may have to face. There are 5 main methods of alternative disposition: a fine, an SIS, a SES, DIP, or community service. First off, we need to explain what a normal disposition is. Normally, you can either be found guilty or you can be acquitted, but an alternative disposition offers different outcomes to a trial that could be more favorable to you. The judge will also discuss with your ability to pay a fine, which can affect your disposition. A fine is what it sounds like. Based on the severity of the violation, you will have to pay a certain amount of money. Community service is also pretty self explanatory. In exchange for your time doing public works, you avoid paying a fine. In this case, you will want to check with your municipality to determine both the requirements and your eligibility for community service. SIS, or suspended impositions of sentence, is where the defendant is placed on probation rather than imprisoned or fined. This involves the defendant being shown the possible bounds of the penalty, but instead of a probationary period is offered, and if the defendant does not violate the terms of the probation, then there will be no conviction of an ordinance violation on their record. Violating the terms of probation will involve a lengthy probational violation period, so it's best to try and avoid it. An SES, or suspended execution of sentence, is where the defendant is convicted of an ordinance violation. Rather than placing you in jail or fining you, however, you are offered a probationary period instead. During this period, if you break the terms of probation, you are placed in jail or fined. However, you still have this conviction on your record. Finally, we have a DIP, or driver improvement program. This is exactly what it sounds like. Essentially, the court can decide to place you in a DIP to allow you to avoid point assessment. However, this is not a guarantee, and checking with the court in the county the ticket was issued can help you assess the odds of being granted a DIP.
In conclusion, here are some general tips. Failure to attend court may result in serious consequences, including, but not limited to, a warrant being issued in a municipal or criminal case, serious consequences, including but not limited to dismissal of the case or adverse judgment against the client. It may also result in your attorney requesting to withdraw. This is also true if you cannot afford to fund your court costs. You will still need to attend to explain your reasoning to the judge. Read everything you are given, show up for everything on time, and buckle up. The judicial system can be complicated and difficult, but there are resources available online and here at CLAM to get you through. Thank you.